In our first video, we talked about manifesting intentions and creating a vision board so that you'd know exactly what it was you were looking for and that you'd know when you got there. In the second video, we looked at juicing and the importance of staying hydrated and getting vitamins and minerals and nutrients into you so that you'd have the energy and the physical stamina to go out and actually achieve the goals that were yours. And in this third video, now we're going to be talking about how to generate and keep some steam, where to go for resources, where to go for energy and ideas. I want to share some thoughts with you, but first I want to make you think a little bit. Sometimes we have a problem or an area in our life that we've identified as being something that we want to work on. Let's say, for example, that you decide you're having trouble sleeping and so you want to address that. You might, for example, just go get some sleep aids or research some herbs or some other ways that you can fall asleep better. But what if the problem isn't really just that you can't get to sleep? What if the problem is you're just not happy in your job, or your relationships need a little bit more attention, or maybe your nutrition's not the way that it should be? It's important for you to take a look at all of the areas of life and all of the things that could potentially be contributing to what you might identify as a trouble point. I'm going to share with you some of the resources that I've used over time, some of the things that I've found to be helpful. Now remember, this is just a snapshot in time. It's just this moment now. It doesn't necessarily mean that these are the things that I'm always going to turn to or be my go-to things, but I wanted to give you a sense for what it is that I look for. The first book that I have here is one by Paul Pitchford. Now don't let the fact that it's 700 pages in length scare you. You don't have to sit down and read 700 pages of anything. I sure didn't. What I liked about this book was that it has a lot of recipes in it, so that was good because I was looking for some food and nutrition. But what it also had that I wasn't really expecting, but I was pleasantly surprised, is that Paul addressed a lot of other areas of life. He talked about things like dry skin brushing and oil pulling. I learned about Ayurvedic alternatives and all sorts of things that I really had no idea that were in there. He spends little amounts of time on each one of these, so it's kind of a survey of the whole kind of holistic movement. So I really liked that. There were some areas that I wanted to dive a little deeper in, and I did that later on my own, but this was a good starting point for me. Another book that I really like is this one. Now the copyright date on this is 1949. So that's to tell you that it's not always the newest and latest and greatest things that are the best resources. Sometimes some of the old masters have lots to say to us. So this is by Norman Walker, and Becoming Younger is a little bit about a lot of things. He's also into raw foods and he's into juicing, so that was an important part of his message. But he talked about the whole person. He talked about discipline, and I really liked that because let's face it, it takes discipline and it takes a little bit of mastery to go for the things that we want in life and to not get discouraged when it gets a little bit hard. So I really liked that one. I also like, this is another one of an older one. Earl Nightingale was actually not a part of the self-help movement at all. He was actually a radio announcer in Chicago in the 1950s. And I really liked his work, and he talks about things like integrity and stepping up to the plate. He talks about being real true values, and I found that to be also beneficial. Now this is so old that it's cassette tapes, so I don't listen to it as much as I used to because I got rid of the car that had the cassette tapes in it, but you get my idea. I still have it, and I still will listen to it. I just have to find a tape player so that I can do that. Now, a few more modern and more recent ones. I really like Carolyn Mace, and Carolyn is a medical intuitive. She's not a physician, but what she does is she does readings with people, sometimes actually even over the telephone, and she'll find out and dig down into what some of the real problems are in someone's physiology. Sometimes those have a basis in some of the mental wiring that's going on with the person. So she's something that would be worth taking a look at, particularly if you have some deep, debilitating physical ailments of your own that you're dealing with or somebody that you love does. Another one I really like, Brene Brown. Daring Greatly is all about shame and its role in our lives and how it affects and colors really all of our potential. And so that was a really important message for me. I listened to this one several times because every time I listen to it, and same with many of these, when I look at them or read them or listen to them a second or third time, I'll hear or see something that wasn't there for me the first time. You know that I'm into food, and I'm into nutrition, and I'm into raw food, and the very first book that I bought about raw food was this, Raw Food Made Easy for 1 or 2 People. Now, the reason I bought the book was one word on the title. That word right here is easy. It was really important to me if I was going to do something nutritionally, in addition to all of the other work that I was doing on myself, I really needed it to be a pretty easy process, and that did it for me. So you can see there's a lot of different things that you can do, certainly from the book perspective. If you go to the bookstore, there's no shortage of things. Remember, don't just look at the new titles and the new releases and the hottest one that's on some talk show during the day. Look at some of the older ones. There's some really good nuggets of information from the past. In addition to these sorts of things, consider doing things like going on retreats, alternative practices like acupuncture, massage therapy, other types of things where you can do some exploration. Maybe try some things that you haven't thought of doing on your own before. Maybe ask a friend if they're doing some practice that you have heard of but you're not familiar with, to refer you to a professional or somebody that would be really good. Now remember, if you try it one time and it's not great, give it a second shot. A lot of times I'll find that maybe it wasn't a great day for the practitioner if I went to see somebody, for example. Or maybe it wasn't a great day for me. Or maybe just the stars weren't aligned. So don't give up on things. Now, I want to tell you one more thing that I'm doing for myself personally. Just this year, I signed up for a coaching program. It's a year-long program, and I'm really, really enjoying it. There's a lot of us it's a group program, so I'm learning not just from the coach, but also from the members of the group. And that's been really transformative for me, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I'm getting out of it. So keep an open mind, keep your eyes open for opportunities. Also keep your eye on your mailbox, because I've got some other learning opportunities coming your way that I think you're gonna really wanna hear about. So be watching for me, keep your eyes open, and please remember, what the fork are you waiting for?